Hello there and welcome back to the Chap's Guide. If we've not met before, my name is Ash, I'm the curator of this channel, and this is a place where we come together to talk about self-development tips, product reviews, advice and anything really which will help you on your journey to being the best chap that you can be, or at least you're joining me on my journey to ultimate chapdom. That's all we can hope for anyway. Well, today I'm going to expand on a video I've done in the past. Quite early on in the progression of this channel, I did a video called Watches, My Journey Through Time. And I just briefly looked at some of the wristwatches that I have owned, and we talked about my evolution as a watch wearer. Now today I'd like to focus on one particular watch, one which is very special to me personally. I'll explain the story behind why it's special to me and the place it plays in the world, and that is the Rolex Datejust wristwatch. I'm sure there are many YouTube videos all about Rolex Datejusts and the very many Rolex watches out there, but this one is quite relevant to me, so I thought I'd make it for you and share it with you. On the subject of watches for men though, I think it's a subject which many men are attracted towards. I don't know why. I've always put it down, for me personally, the reason why I like high quality men's wristwatches is because by and large, I don't wear jewellery. I don't wear any sort of neck chains, I don't wear any earrings. I'm actually married, but I don't wear a wedding ring. My father never wore a wedding ring either. It's just something that I don't like, wearing jewellery for a man, and you know, it's great if other people do enjoy these things, but for me it's something I've never done. So I don't wear any jewellery. I've got no way of expressing my individuality or my character through jewellery. You know, some people wear signet rings, some people wear chains. That's denied to me really because I don't like jewellery too much on myself personally. However, the one thing which most men will wear, whether they think of it as jewellery or not, is a wristwatch. It's a practical item. It tells the time, tells the date, tells a lot of other things as well if you've got a modern smartwatch. But it also, I think, is a reflection of you. It's a part of you, your personality, and that's why I think for some men it can be something which is intrinsically important to the way that they dress. You might own extensive wristwatch collections, and you will wear different watches with the different outfits you have, or on different occasions. You can have a dress watch, a sports watch, a diving watch, whatever your particular direction in life is, there's a watch there to have it covered for you. And for me, I'm quite a formal, conservative sort of guy, so I do tend to like things which fall into that category. And, you know, perhaps that's why I've chosen the Rolex Datejust is my sort of primary wristwatch, although I'm not actually wearing it today, I just noticed. But we'll go and have a look at it. I'll show you it close up and I'll explain why I like it and why it suits me as my perfect watch. So let's go and have a look. So here we are, and here is that famous green Rolex outer box. This is what all the Rolex watches come in when you buy them from the store. I understand they're not specific to the individual watches, but and they're not, you know, considering the amount of money you pay for these things, they are just some sort of vinyl outer box, so nothing too exciting really. But the only thing which really elicits the interest is that golden Rolex coronet, which you see there, which gives you an indication that there's a little bit of a treasure inside. So let's have a look at this one. And there he is. That is what we're talking about here today. And that is the Rolex Datejust. Just pop him out from there. Shut the box. Get that out the way. So this is the Rolex Datejust. It's a 36mm and it's the reference number 116234. If you're one of those sort of people who, knows all about the reference numbers on these pieces. And as like all Rolex watches, unfortunately, these things don't have an anti-reflective coating on the sapphire crystal, so it will reflect, unfortunately, as I move it around to try and catch the light. But I'll tell you what I can about this piece and why it's interesting to me. I'm not going to go into the history of the Rolex Datejust because I'm sure there's many people who know a lot more about it than I do. Suffice to say that this watch was introduced in 1945 into the Rolex range, and it's been in the range largely unchanged since that time. And you know, it's a beautiful piece. I do find a great deal of joy in owning this one. Bit of a dress watch really, but there's more to it than that, I think, with a Datejust. And you know, as I say, I'll tell you all about this one as we go along. So there he is. It's a 36mm face on this one, across the front there. And I went for the 36 because I'm quite a modest size guy. So I've got a 6.5-inch wrist, which is kind of, you know, towards the small end of average, I guess. You know, I'm a medium-sized person in all things. I take medium-sized clothes, so I guess I've got quite a medium wrist. And I'm conscious that in the last decade or so, men's wristwatches were becoming increasingly bigger and bigger in size, to the point that I thought they were, you know, too big, unwearable, and looked ungainly on a man's wrist. I like a piece which is proportionate and in keeping with, you know, the rest of your jewelry or clothing or whatever. I don't like these things which dominate your wrist, far too big. So this 36mm piece is probably one of the smaller wristwatches you'll be able to buy in the sort of men's luxury category these days. Certainly the smallest, you know, men's watch you can buy from Rolex, and it's the original size. The 36mm was the Datejust original size. So, you know, I quite like the idea of the tradition, the heritage, and it fits me rather nicely. I do like that. So in the on the bracelet, you can see this is what they call the Jubilee bracelet by Rolex. There's the little coronet. You can just see the coronet there by my finger. Hopefully, yeah. That is the concealed crown clasp for this piece. So the Jubilee bracelet, again introduced in 1945 specifically for the Datejust, and it's a 5-piece metal link bracelet. The outer larger link pieces of the bracelet being brushed metal, and the inner 3 link down the middle are polished. So when you catch the light on a sunny day or whatever, there's very definitely a bling to that polished bit, which I think lends very well to this being something of a dress watch. I do like that element. Now I like the concealed crown clasp. You can see the little crown there. All you do, you put your thumb under it and it pops it open. So there you have your bracelet open. You can slip it onto the wrist and pop him back up like that quite easily. So you get this sort of continuous bracelet look all the way around your wrist, which I think, you know, has a jewellery-like quality to it, and it adds something, I think, to the value, the beauty of this piece, in the fact that it does do that for you. It lends it very well to being a bit of a dress piece. It's this particular model, sized for me, is 115 grams in weight, so it's not big chunky piece, not too big or heavy. Nice size, doesn't dominate the wrist, it's not too heavy. And you know, I think they fly somewhat under the radar, because there are many watches which, you know, try to emulate this Datejust appearance. The Jubilee bracelet is in fact quite chunky now. I think the earlier models had less heft to them, but as you can probably see, from the side profile of these pieces, they're quite solid. There's no what they call give in these. I believe they call it Rolex bracelet stretch over time, where they'll flop somewhat where they've been worn. But this one's still early in its life, only a year or so old, so it's still got quite a lot of tightness to it, if you want to use that term. As I say, so it's a lovely dress piece. Where does it occupy in my sort of daily use? I wear this piece when I'm wearing a suit, or when I'm aiming to, dress a little more smart. I have other watches which I wear for more casual attire, but the Datejust is very definitely a little bit smarter, and it can be carried off as a dress watch. I've worn it with a dinner jacket, formal evening wear, but because of its sort of, I've chosen the stainless steel constructed model here, very much because I like its versatility. Stainless steel is very much the material in vogue at the moment with men's pieces, and in this Rolex, I know it's going to last. It's very hard wearing, it's very flexible in what you can wear it with because of its kind of neutral color. I very much like the sort of silver platinum stainless steel look anyway. It predominates my other wristwatches, so it's really quite a useful material. The blue dial, I chose the blue dial basically because blue is my favorite color. I tend to wear blue more in the rest of my wardrobe than any other color. I own a blue car, it's very much certainly the color which I prefer. Just got some fingerprints on there, get rid of that. So the blue, I think, is a lovely sunburst blue in this particular model. I had no idea when I bought it, in fact, that the blue was kind of a premium dial. I merely bought it because I liked it, and I do wear it quite often. The date window, as you can see, just there, it's just obscured at the moment by the hour hand or the minute hand, magnifies the date by 2.5 times. And on this particular model, odd days have a red date digit, even days have a black. As you can see, today's the 6th, tomorrow we'll have a red number in there, which is quite nice because it sets off the blue rather nicely. In this model as well, I went for the fluted bezel, so the faceted shoulder, if you want to call it that, around the sapphire crystal you can see. That fluted bezel, I think, catches the light, gives it a nice little glimmer from time to time. It's made of white gold, so you've got something of a precious metal there, which is adding value to not adding value to the watch in its monetary term, but for yourself, that it's got a bit of gold, it adds value to you. My story around this watch: this was the first luxury watch that I ever purchased, and I didn't intend to buy it when I did. I was building up to buying myself a nice watch, is fair to say, and last year it was my father's 88th birthday. It was the school holidays, and I was looking after my son, who's 8, and I popped round to see my parents, and I said, look, Dad's birthday, let's go out for a drive, a bit of a treat, we'll have tea or lunch somewhere. And we drove to a local town, and there was a Rolex authorised dealer in the middle of the high street. So glancing in through the window, I saw this piece in the window, and I thought, do you know what, this is the watch that I had in my mind to buy first. I've never tried it on, let's see how it looks on the wrist. So I popped into the store, tried it on, and you can guess the rest, can't you? I immediately was smitten by the piece, I was taken by how it looked on my wrist, and I just had to have it. And having tried it on, I ended up walking out of the place with it on my wrist. And that day, as we were sat in the authorised dealer, to my left was my little boy, my son, who was 8. To my right was my father, who was 88. So 3 generations of the family were all present and sat there in the AD when I signed for and took ownership of this piece. And as such, it will always remain in my collection as a very special moment for me, the first time I ever purchased a luxury watch. And, I was there, my father, and my son, who ultimately this watch will pass to in due course, all being well. So there we are. That's the story of this little Rolex Datejust. It's water resistant to 100 meters, screw down crown. So it's a watch which, it's not just a dress watch. Because of its stainless steel and quite versatile appearance, it can easily be worn casually. I often do wear it casually. You could wear it with jeans and a t-shirt. You can wear it, the chap in the jeweler said to me, never leave this watch in the safe in your hotel, because there's no situation where you can't wear it. Wear it in the pool, wear it down the gym. It's a robust timepiece. It's got, it's in the Oyster Perpetual case. It's a hardy wristwatch. You don't have to baby a Datejust like you might have to with some of these other fancy watches, which are a little bit more fragile and precious. Not to say that these are not precious. I mean, this model, and I know I'll be blunt, you can look it up if you want to, so there's no point pretending otherwise. This watch cost me £6,150. However, Rolex have increased the price of their watches, so I had it at a bit of a bargain, even at the retail price at the time. But it's a piece which I intend to keep forever. I know it's a lot of money. I saved up and I prepared to buy my first luxury piece for a long time, and I'm deeply grateful every time I get to wear this on my wrist, because it's a Rolex. Not everybody gets the opportunity to own one and wear one on a daily basis. And there we are. That's my Rolex Datejust and the little story behind me buying it, and why I have to say it is my favourite piece. I think it looks the best on my wrist, and it's just covers all the bases. It looks nice with a suit, it looks nice with jeans. There's hardly any situation where you can't wear this and it's got you covered. not least because it's fantastic at telling the time as well. Being a Rolex, it's a certified chronometer. It doesn't lose or gain more than 2 seconds per day. It's automatic, it winds itself. It does all the work for you, and that's what you pay for when you buy an expensive piece of this nature. So there we are. I hope you've enjoyed seeing my little fella here. And I'll just slip it onto my wrist so you can, hang on, I'm actually wearing a Rolex Submariner here, which is a little bit larger. If you want to see them side by side, in fact, so you get an idea. The Submariner is a 40mm dial, and the Datejust is 36. So it's not a small little fragile piece. Put that to one side. I'll just pop the Datejust on my wrist so you can see it in situ. The only thing I would say about the concealed crown clasp Jubilee strap is that obviously it's not as adjustable as perhaps some of the other pieces, because it's fixed. You'd have to remove some of these links if you wanted to size it for yourself. But really do love this watch, and yeah, it's my daily wearer when I'm not wearing one of my other nice pieces. Okay. So there you are. That is my perfect watch, the Rolex Datejust 36mm. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about it today, and now you've got a greater understanding of where it sits in my wardrobe and the importance that I place on timepieces for men. If you have, please don't forget to click the like button below this video, because I actually find it highly encouraging to know that you're enjoying the material that I'm producing. And don't forget to click that subscribe button either, because that means, with the bell icon, that you won't miss any future material that I create on your journey to being a chap. It can help you too. So thanks for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.